Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and as you can see we have Dave, aka Muzrax. Follow his channel on Muzrax on YouTube.
Yeah, man.
He graced us at our locals today and went undefeated 4-0 and
No. 4-0 instead of X4.
X4, you broke the curse.
The mouth.
You decided to
play my favorite deck.
Nice.
I was like, coming to Belgium, I was like, if I come to Belgium, at least to play my favorite deck. And that's none other, of course, Time.
Let's give it a look.
Yeah, man. Full shiny with one ugly piece of shit on it.
I wonder what that could be.
It's just Among Us.
It's Among Us. It's a bit sus.
So if we have to go slowly because it's beautiful speed.
Yes.
So one starter, nothing really explanatory about this. Like, is there any reason not to play on?
It's a +2, so
Yeah, +2.
+1, 2, +2.
And essentially you can still play starters in the main deck and just search them out. One next stage, never used it, was tried for the entire day. Good against Order Colony.
There was no order quality today.
There was no Order Colony. One time leaper for when you want to like pressure opponent in. Did it multiple times, also to write down the Colony itself, because it can just like search a card that it can soulless one, soulless at Colony and make a boss out of it and play it again. Then of course the best boy of the entire deck, Colony
The ultimate bling.
I have BRO man. I even have the BRO bonus. Essentially you just play it for the name. Also a nice beat stick on the rear circle where it can just get plus 5k. So it can still hit opponent's defense triggers if you play a combat properly. And that's really it. You just your force market generation. And that's really it. Then one card. I always call Piano Boy. He likes to stay on my angle.
He was your first damage if I'm not mistaken in our match.
Like I damage checked it against you, but and then immediately healed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, back into the deck, ribble it out, and do stuff like that.
He's also a JoJo reference.
It's also a JoJo reference. Never watched it.
Oh, you should.
I'm trying though. For air cap, if you have to call a like many classes have like a broken beat like a Vanguard circle skill on by 2. Gears doesn't have that, so we play the second best, and that's air cap in this deck.
Yeah.
Like get your early pressure. If you have Ribble, of course, you just do Ribble. And essentially, what it's also useful for is like if you go for striders, because that's the main core of this deck, striding. You don't want to stride with ugly pieces in your hand or 15k shoots, so this is just an easy stride for to work with. And also for the rest of the deck, you can just stride them away or discard them away. Beautiful history makers.
Very bling.
What do we say about our game?
Well, basically, you had to Geoassist, and they were all in your hand.
No, even more, because I'm Mulligan 3, draw all 3.
Oh, yeah.
These are all 3 Mulligans, I was like, dude, like, this is, the reason why I played it, because it's like, shit in the early game.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do with this? Like, the most of the time I did was just ride on, and put all of my 10ks on the rear, that's what the best my opponent in. And that's it. Like that's it for the early game. So that's why we play 3. And essentially, when you go into your timely turns with stride, of course, then you can just. So essentially, when you go into stride turns, you can essentially search this out whenever you need. Okay. And you only need for the combo like you want to have 1 on the field, essentially 1 for the timely plays, and then 1 as extra just to be sure that you have enough damage.
And you can always send them back when necessary.
Yeah, especially. Then 1 for the Naboo, 1 Smoke Gear, 1 Doodoo, 1 Kunta.
So they're the how do you say it? The splash package?
Like the reason for it, like many people have seen this in my deck profile and was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, are you drunk? And I'm like, no, this is new spice.
not right now, but yes.
Yeah. Now the reason for this is every card, like every grade 2 amongst these, pressure opponent in the early game.
Yeah.
The early game, you can just pressure opponent in and they all have the same function to play the grade 2 game, because you're not really going to play the grade 2 game, but you want to have your opponent as high damage as possible so your timing turns become lethal. So during the early game, these are all essentially the same, but when you go to your strike turns, they all have different purposes because you can just toolbox them away.
And they're also useful against different kind of matchups.
Yeah, because Naboo can really be disgusting against something like Dimension Police and stuff, where they want to guard with great trees and stuff. Smoke Gear, you can just search out of Time Leaper, so you can Soul Blast during the battle phase, Soul Blast as you range it. Doodoo essentially makes your melon 26 because it can just be in the back row and be chilling there.
Yep.
And then Kurunta is sort of like a worse delayed placer, if you know it from the past.
Yeah, the one that only works if you have a Chrono Jab, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's placed, you get Time Leap and all that.
Yep.
With a cost counter as a Soul Blast, the late plays for free, and it's just plays early game really fucking well. And then for the great ones, we play Focus Ribble. I would say Ribble is the best card in the entire game.
I would agree.
Yeah, like if you don't have a reason to play Ribble, make a reason for it.
Yeah.
It's essentially the core riders deck. That's why I play it for. Also, if you want to have like one loss and it's end up in the drop zone, you can just send it. And also, you may say, oh, but this costs quite a lot of soul. It doesn't, because you can just recite Protective Works and easily. Yeah, 4 loss gear, okay? To search the current jet,
She's best girl, he's best dog.
yeah, essentially. Because like,
Best boy.
this card wants to be on your hand, so you can just ditch him away because he's not doing it. Like I have almost a one-off, I see him constantly. Also can search out heal guards against poker matchups. That's really it against it. Like you play a bunch of great force, so this can like unbreak your stuff. And against some matchups you just need multiple heals to survive on the first time.
Yep, and he's a great free discard fodder.
Yeah, and this is also the reason why we play Aircraft, like an additional reason, because what you can just do is search out any grade 3, like any conditions or stuff like that, and just discard excess amount of aircrafts, especially when you want to see heal guards and stuff, because against decks such as Night Battles and that type of decks, you really need to Disruptor plays on the opponent's turn, and you essentially have 3 ways to do that. And then we'll go the third way later. Melon, because she's the core of the deck, especially same with History Maker. She makes the core of the deck. This is the time engine that you only go into it when you strike turns. And that's really it, like early game is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like
the GB curse.
Yeah, like too expensive to play. Good reason. PG you can just search out of the deck because time also enables Ribble turn in battle phase, so you can make good comments. Because sometimes what happens is that like if you have one force marker, you go Melon, and if your opponent goes first trigger, it doesn't hit anymore. If you go this down and you get Ribble is 30 plus 10 makes 23, so it's like it's your opponent. People don't understand this card probably, but the first skill you only use if you want to Soul Blast or want to enable Ribble in the early game, that's it. You don't want to, like the protection plus the counter. The second skill is like, that's the disruptive play. So at the beginning of the battle phase, and you can counter these 2, bite him away, and your opponent needs to overcome from the top of the deck into a opponent's record circle, and that card goes to the bottom of the deck. So if they for example have Leslie, you just put Leslie in the bottom of the deck, you're guaranteed that you don't see it anymore. Call the top card, which can be of course quite a worse card. And people have complained about this like CB2 ability, but how you want to see it is like, if CB2 can survive you with one single turn, then it's worth it, better than dying of course. And especially against something like NMD, you really need it.
Nightmare Dolls really needs that turn play where you can actually get into your combos, and sometimes by disrupting it you can totally unclog your field.
And also really good about this card, like with Time Leap, it usually goes to the bottom of the deck because you need to be in Time Leap from grade 0. But if you go from a grade 0 to this, go to a grade 2, then it sticks on the board because the grade 2 will go to the bottom of the deck. You will call this card once again from the grind zone, but you don't go from a grade 1 to grade 0 because I don't know, is no result. 2 technical workers, so we still play starters. This can just be searched out of here. And of course, I try to make the timely package as small as possible because like it doesn't do anything in the early game. Late game you can just search it out with your time leap, and it will go smoothly into each other. Like I never had a problem with finding this, so I think this is fine. But like making the timely package even smaller is possible, but won't recommend it because it's still like it carries you so much in the entire game.
You could theoretically brick, and like losing your TikToks would be pretty detrimental.
But what you essentially can do is like if you have these in the soul, because this almost generates you infinite soul because you can just put it into soul with some ability, time leap stuff, and then with Wibble, soul blast out, draw, and put it back into the deck because it has been soul blast out.
Yep.
Then for the triggers, 3 strike hits. I find it to be enough because you essentially already play Air Cup and also get 8 strike enablers. And Chris, you don't really care about this deck too much because like a poke deck, you really want to poke like 21, 14 and stuff like that. 3 copies of overtime, you would say, but you only need 1 life for the combo, but that's not entirely true. At a later stage of the game, when you can time with multiple cards, then you can just create 3 boosters. And also, this is also a combo starter. The reason why I say this is if you start with a history maker / overtime, and okay, let's for example open with a history maker and overtime or a history maker and a melon, it's the same.
Yep.
I would even argue that this opening is better because this at least can swing into your opponent's trigger.
Yeah.
So they have 1 less option to get the defense trigger. Well, but melon needs to attack always the Vanguard when they were slow.
Yeah.
And that's the entire reason why 3 copies. Ugly piece of shit, we won't go over this.
This should be a SP.
Yeah, like I was like last night I wanted to go, I already knew. I was like, oh, I need to switch this around, forgot it, went to bed, and yeah.
Now we have to sit and watch this race.
Not much variety once again, fuck barrel makers. 3 drop PGs because it's still really good, but you play of course the one fetchable one, and so you need to make room, and you can of course play the fetchable one. Use even more important that it's grade 3 because you can just search it out, that's really it. 1 overture, this is the darkest one. In my list I played the Grey Elemental one, which I think is still better, but just for this tournament I just want to have some little bit of fun, and this is like more fun to of course check.
Yep.
Because essentially what you can do with the Grey Elemental one is make a sort of an OTK on your first try because of higher numbers online. Like normally this deck can run across like 2 defense triggers, so if let's for example the opponent is on 2, you go to 3, 4 if they get defense trigger, but when Grey Elemental overtrigger you can essentially kill them even though they complete the defenses.
Yep.
That's how your numbers work. I won't go into the combo because otherwise we'll be here 2 hours long.
Yeah, the store is closing pretty soon, so
Strides, 3 history makers, or 3 history builds, sorry. If you don't have the proper setup for your time, it's not the worst because this can just search out.
yeah.
Like
It starts the
if you have 1 Overtar, 1 melon, that's combo. If you have 2 Overtars, that's combo because you can just go Overtar, time with melon, tick the border, Overtar, melon. Hope you get it.
It sounds logical. Like I'm pretty sure people that aren't too versed into Gear Chronicle might be a bit, struggling with it, but you can check that out on your channel.
Yeah, like our deck profile or something like that. Reckon Clock can kill your opponent out of nowhere sometimes. His guard restrict is not GB2, but the critical is.
Yep.
But like it's worded in a way that you can always use it. But when you are on GB2, you get the critical.
Yeah. And it works with the next card probably.
Not next card.
Oh.
The card of next stage, reasonable Vanguard. Really good against Order Colony if you get the GB2. That's really important. It's GB2. So if you go against Order Colony, this is like a very good card to play. But of course, if you don't have GB2, you have still the next system in the main deck.
Yep.
And 2, of course, resolve Rebels. 2 gear copies. Copies any gear dragon from your Gzone, that's face up. 2 copies. You can flip 1 with this GB3 ability. So most of the time, what you just do is like history build and Ragnarok. You can also like go to, of course, a next system. So let's for example, you go for this combo, or you go for this combo, whatever you suit best.
Yep.
I played against the Major Police and I was like, oh, I will not go into Ragnarok because I still have a great reason card for a tremendous amount of time. Then, of course, 1 Gork, well, that will soon be replaced. Thank you very much.
He was nice while we had him.
1 prayer like Sea Priest in my own deck profile. I made a I misunderstand the card, never came up. Now I knew the ruling about it and I was like, okay, very happy. I had some games where I played towards it, but my opponents got to ride up because if you play the grade 2 game in the sense like you ride up Time Leaper, you ride back to grade 2, you have force markers and you're like really ready to go. If your opponent decides to still play the grade 2 game, you can just go into this because your opponent is like the only condition is that you need to be on grade 3 and your opponent didn't need to fight.
Yep.
And like you still have no condition. And 1 Uluru, piece for 9 deck, you want to have your piece in your drop zone, in your deck I mean, Profana, Really to search with the G-card. Also, if you have like, for example, one history maker left in your deck, you can protect it by sending it back to the deck. Only you don't need to damage check it. Disruptive tool, best G-card in the game almost. Except for the Nile Griffin, I would say.
I would say the Nile Griffin is better, and maybe one of the new G-guards. Like the PG G-guards are pretty good.
Yeah, but this is actually better because it's also like, it doesn't cost that much. And it's super cheap, Soul Blue 1 is super cheap.
Yeah.
Only needs to crunch with Vanguard. One bear lock that surprises everyone out of Lamine. Because I played this in, I guess, Dimension Police once again, and just guard his like 46k attack just with one G-card.
It's pretty insane. Like.
Yeah, and you can port the word as in your opponent's turn.
Yep. Now, is there anything you want to say to anyone aspiring to play Gear Chronicle, especially the Time Leap variant or the upcoming new variant with the Premium Collection, which sadly we didn't get to see today?
Yeah, I was really stoked to play with the Premium Collection, but unfortunately, like people in the shop like didn't have the cards yet, so they decided not to go with it. So be it. I just played it.
Yep.
But for people to say like just watch my video because there's like I will explain most of the stuff there, not all of them because otherwise the video will be too long. But that's really it, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for showing us your deck for today's video. Yeah. Definitely check out Musterx's channel. It will be linked down below. There might be a pop-up somewhere on the screen right now. And thank you guys for joining us today. Stay radiant. See you guys next time.
Lead it.